Emma Dillard stood in the doorway of her new home, a tired widow at 35, feeling the dusty air swallow her whole. Her inherited house loomed over her, an old ranch-style place with peeling paint and sagging eaves, crumbling like a forgotten dream. Marfa, Texas, was a dot on the map, a quiet town of whispers where families held tight to old tales like moths around a flickering lantern. The memory of her late husband flickered like that very lantern, always dim, yet persistent. She was determined to make a life for her two children here, yet dread pooled in her stomach. They'd arrived just days ago, and even then, a shadow seemed to cling to their heels. It began as an unsettling air in the house. The walls seemed to breathe, heavy with whispered secrets, as though the very bones of the place were watching her, waiting. As the sun dipped low, she set to unpacking, a flickering lantern casting long shadows that danced about the room. It was then she noticed it. A wall in the hallway seemed off, an angle awkward, as if the house had shifted while she wasn't watching. She reached out to touch the surface, but just then an odd sound drifted down the hall. It was a murmur, soft yet insistent, like the wind speaking through the cracks. "Mom, what's that?" Her young son's voice broke the silence, eyes wide and searching. Emma shook her head, trying to hide her own nervousness. "I'm not sure, honey. Just old wood settling." But deep down, a chill ran down her spine. That night in the stillness, the murmurs returned, luring her back to the hallway. It was almost as if the locked doors stirred to life, begging her to listen. What secrets lay hidden? No one in town spoke of them. Those doors remained a mystery, and she felt an odd pull toward them, as if something or someone awaited. Days passed, her anxiety gnawing at her like a persistent coyote. One evening, while sweeping loose dirt from the floorboards, she stumbled upon an old leather-bound diary, yellowed pages sticking together, its spine cracked and weathered. As she read, a tale of familial darkness unfolded before her, tales of betrayal and a cousin who'd vanished without a trace. Every word sank deeper into her heart, and the dreadful realization weighed heavily on her mind. The despair that clung to the house wasn't mere memory, it was the echo of something tragic buried under the dust and silence. She felt a presence, an urgency within the walls. As night fell, she looked up from the diary, her breath catching in her throat. The lantern's flame flickered fiercely, casting an amber glow that danced with shadows and flickered with a life of its own. It was as if the house were alive, hungry for her to uncover the darkness dwelling within. She knew there was more to discover, and she feared what she'd find. The whispers grew louder, and she began to doubt not just her family's past, but her place in this house, this sleepy town. As she looked around, the corners felt tighter, the air thicker. What haunted the house? What lay in wait within those locked doors? The night had a grip on her heart, and as her eyes diverted to the hall, an unsettling thought stole through her mind. Some tragedies refused to stay buried. As the lamplight flickered one last time, a shudder ran through her bones, and she could almost hear them calling from beyond. Emma's heart raced as she stood, flashlight trembling in her hand, staring down the dim hallway. The weight of the house pressed around her, thick as a fog. She heard it again, a faint whisper like a long-held breath released. "Mom!" The voice of her son, Tommy, shot through the heavy silence, pulling her focus. He was framed in the doorway of the living room, eyes wide, a homemade toy clutched in his small hand. "What's that noise?" "Nothing, honey. Just the house," she replied, forcing a smile that felt brittle. "But it sounds weird." He took a hesitant step forward. "Go back to your room. I'll be right there." She tried to keep her voice steady, but it wavered. She didn't want him near those whispers. She didn't want them near her. "The shadows are bad, Mum." His little brow furrowed. "I said go." The firmness in her tone surprised her. He flinched but retreated. She watched him disappear down the hall, a small weight pressing down on her chest. Emma turned back to the rotating shadows. The whispers bounced off the walls, weaving around her. She gripped the flashlight and moved forward, the cold air none too inviting. The room felt alive, the very wood and nails with a pulse. She reached the strange wall again, her fingers grazing the surface. It felt chillier here. Maybe it's just old wood, she muttered, barely believing her own words. Just then, a creaking echoed from the other end of the house. It grew louder. Then there was a crash. Emma gasped and stumbled back. "Tommy!" she shouted, her feet scrambling to follow the sounds. "Stay there!" he called out from beyond her view. "Get back!" She bolted, heart pounding in her ears. Fear coiled tightly as she rounded the corner into the dim light of the kitchen. What happened? Tommy stood near the window, pale and trembling. The heavy old cabinet lay in splinters on the floor, its contents scattered like broken promises. Dishes lay shattered among the dust. "I didn't touch it," he cried, eyes welling. "Then who—" Before she could finish, a strong gust blew past her, slamming the front door shut. Emma jumped, breathing heavy. "Mom!" Lucy, her daughter, entered the kitchen with wide, frightened eyes. "What happened?" "Just the cabinet," Emma said, trying to calm them both. "It fell over." "But it wasn't near the edge," Tommy insisted, glancing nervously at the door. "Listen, we need to clean this up," Emma urged, turning back to the mess. "And then we'll get some dinner. Can we go outside? Please?" Lucy's voice was small, pleading. Emma hesitated. "The sun's going down. It's better if we stay inside." "No, I mean, out back." Lucy pointed to the door leading outside. "Where the shed is." "Why?" "Because," she shook her head, voice trembling, "I feel something out there. Something different." Emma looked between her children, frustration bubbling under her skin. "What do you mean, different?" "It just feels wrong," Lucy whispered. Emma rubbed her hands together, anxiety curling her fingers as she glanced toward the window. The reflection showed a fleeting shadow outside. Had it moved? "Mom!" Tommy shouted again, excitement forgetting the fear. "I think I saw something in the shed." "I can go!" Lucy jumped in. "No!" Emma said, sharper than intended. "Stay here!" Tommy wrinkled his brow, then turned, pointing toward the door. "Look!" The door to the back porch swung slowly open, creaking, as if wading through the still air. Emma's heart raced again, urging her feet to move. She took a careful step towards it, breath caught in her throat. "What's happening?" Tommy asked, voice strained. "Maybe it's the wind," Lucy said, but her voice was uncertain. Emma peered out into the gathering dusk, shadows pooling across the ground. "Stay behind me," she ordered. She approached the doorway, the smell of damp earth and fading light washing over her. As she reached for the railing, the sound pulsed again, a distant, drawn-out wail. "It's just the wind," she repeated more to herself than her children. But her voice cracked. The chill intensified. She stepped out onto the porch. "Hello?" she called, a whisper nearly lost to the wind. "Mom!" Tommy's high-pitched whine made her spin around. A flicker of movement caught her eye. Something darted in the corner of the yard. It was fast, sliding along the ground, just outside the edge of light. What was that? "I don't know," Tommy yelped, clutching Lucy. "Stay here," Emma shouted. She stepped off the porch, into the shadows. She moved closer, engrossed in that flicker in the dusk. The shadows began to thicken around her. She felt something shift in the air. It pulled harder at her, twining around her feet. "Mom!" The kid's calls came closer. As she rounded the shed, she froze. A tangle of bramble lay strewn across the ground, and the shed's door was ajar, open wide, dark inside. "Mom, don't!" Lucy yelled, pulling Tommy closer. Something glinted inside. Emma stepped back, heart pounding. The glint, it called her. She hesitated, then stepped forward again, pushing the door further open. Just then the whipping wind gusted with a force that knocked Emma against the wall of the shed. A bone-deep chill filled the air. Something shouted out from the shadows, a voice not quite right. "Emma!" It echoed, familiar yet wrong. Then the door slammed shut behind her, plunging her into darkness. "Mom!" She heard Tommy's voice from outside, panicked. With urgency, she pushed against the door. It wouldn't budge. "Get away!" Emma screamed. But the voice echoed again, closer now. "You left me." The chill sank deeper, and the air grew thin as she pounded on the door, each thud ringing with despair. "Kids, get inside." "No, Mom!" The dark pressed in. "It's too late," it whispered. The dread pooled around Emma, thick and suffocating. She felt the shadows creeping closer, swallowing the air. "Mom!" The sound of fear slashing through the darkness. Just then, the shed burst open, light flooding in. But the voice inside shifted to a taut giggle. It slipped between the shadows, whispering behind her ear, "You left me alone, Emma." And there, within the canvas of chaos, the world began to unravel. Chapter 2. The Weight of Shadows. The shed door swung wide, spilling light across the cracked floor of dirt. But Emma could not move. Chilled to the bone, she felt the air weigh heavy. The shadows inside twisted, shaping into something that shouldn't be. It giggled, a sound sharp and jarring, crawling under her skin. "Emma!" Tommy's voice crackled outside, frantic. "Stay back!" she shouted. "Get inside!" "Mom!" Lucy screamed, terror lacing her tone. The shadow coiled tighter in the shed, an echo of the ancient voices, both familiar and threatening. "You left me alone, Emma! Get away from me!" she shouted, pushing against the door again. It resisted like stone. Emma turned to face the darkness. "Who are you?" "Who am I?" it replied, a tinkling laugh that bounced off the walls. "You know me!" Tommy's voice broke through the chaos. "Mom!" "Please," Emma urged, breathless. "Don't open that door." Suddenly, the door burst open again. Light from outside flooded in with an urgency. Tommy stood there, wide-eyed, hands outstretched. Lucy was behind him, holding his shirt. "Mom!" Tommy yelled, rushing in. "No!" Emma shouted, reaching for him. "Get back!" But he was already inside. The air thickened. Tommy froze, confusion dancing in his eyes. "Mom, what's wrong?" he asked, glancing around the shed. "I just wanted to help." "Help?" The voice inside cackled. "Help, little boy? You think you can help her? She left me here." "Who are you?" Tommy demanded, though he took a step back. "Tommy, don't listen!" Emma yelled, stepping forward, wanting to shield him. "She didn't love me," the shadow accused, darting around Emma's arm. "She didn't even remember me. Do you?" Emma backed away, pulling Tommy behind her. "I don't know what you want." "I want you to know," it whispered, thickening the air. "I want you to remember me." Lucy burst through the doorway. "Where's Dad?" she panted. "Stay back, Lucy," Emma ordered. "Tommy!" Lucy cried, rushing towards her brother. "I'm fine!" Tommy shouted, nervous but defiant. The shadows lurched, pooling around the siblings. "Mom, do something!" Lucy's voice cracked. Emma searched for an escape. "We need to go!" But the exit felt far away, swallowed in shadow. "Listen to me, Emma. I won't let you go until you tell them." "Tell us what?" Tommy asked, eyes darting between his mom and the darkness. "Tell them I am here," it hissed. "Tell them I am still part of this family." "Stop it!" Emma yelled, stepping into the light. "You're not part of anything." The shadow recoiled, a strange pause hanging in the air. "He needs to know the truth." "What truth?" Tommy asked, fear creeping into his voice. "It's a lie!" Emma shouted. "A lie made of darkness. Is it?" The shadow twisted, extending a form that resembled a face Emma knew from old photographs. "He should hear it from you." "No!" she screamed, shaking her head. "You're not real." "Look at him," the shadow cooed. "He's just like me." "Mom!" Lucy cried, holding on to Tommy. "What truth, Mom?" Tommy pressed, eyes wide with confusion. A chill wrapped around Emma. "Enough!" she shouted, stepping into the light completely, desperate to break the hold of the shadow. "I will not let you twist this!" The shadow hissed, recoiling, but something snapped. The shed trembled. "Mom, what's happening?" Lucy shrieked. "I don't know!" Emma shouted, but the ground shook harder, sending waves of dust up into the air. "Tell them!" The shadows bellowed, fury rising. "Tell them! I never left!" "Shut up! I'm done!" Emma screamed, and the darkness recoiled, shrieking. Then the floor beneath them cracked, splintering into a dark, gaping hole. Emma grabbed Tommy and Lucy, pulling them back. "Run!" she commanded. "Get out!" They stumbled out the door, but the shadow lashed out, wrapping around Emma's ankle. She fell, dragging Tommy down with her. "No!" Lucy screamed, trying to pull them away. "Let go of me!" Emma shouted, panic bubbling. The shadow laughed, winding tighter. You can't escape me. You never could. Mom, Tommy cried, terror in his voice. Emma's heart raced. Climb, she shouted to her children. Just climb. Mom. Lucy's voice broke. Together, they scrambled up the side of the shed as the ground shifted. Tommy clawed his way up the wooden frame. Go! Go! Emma yelled, pulling Lucy up behind him. The shadows twisted, but they couldn't hold them as they climbed higher. Just as they reached the top, the shadows surged, ripping through the walls. You left me! It screeched, shattering the wood. Jump! Emma yelled, flinging her arms wide as Tommy and Lucy prepared to leap. They landed hard, but still on solid ground. Emma turned back, heart pounding wildly. The shed was splintering, shadows spilling out like an oil spill. Black, viscous, hungry. Mom, what's happening? Tommy gasped, panting for breath, but Emma only stared, the shadows writhing beyond. She felt a chill run through her, chilling the air around her. Mom, Lucy said, eyes wide and terrified. Get back, Emma shouted. But the shadows didn't relent. Then, without warning, a sharp voice pierced the night. It's your fault, Emma. Her heart sank, and she turned slowly, dread pooling in her stomach. There, in the dim light, stood a figure she recognized. A familiar face, but not one she wanted to see. Dad, Tommy whispered. How? Emma swallowed. What are you doing here? But the man just smiled, wide and unsettling. You know why. And with that, darkness rushed in, engulfing the light. Emma screamed as she felt herself being pulled back in, lost to shadow. Mom, Tommy's voice cried out, but she couldn't reach them. The world turned black, and Emma realized she wasn't alone. Someone stood beside her, pulling her deeper. Emma, the voice coiled through the dark. You won't get free this time. Everything went silent, and then an echoing burst of laughter filled the air as the shadows closed in tight. Chapter 3. The Echo of Shadows. Emma stood frozen. The darkness churned around her, heavy and thick. A familiar presence loomed close. Its voice spun through the void, cold and sharp. Emma, it said, you thought you could escape? Let me go, she screamed, panic clawing at her throat. Laughter echoed. You can't run from what you are. Mum! Tommy's voice broke through the darkness. Where are you? Tommy! Emma shouted, straining against the force pulling her down. The shadows twisted tighter, pulling her apart. Mum! Lucy cried, fear trembling in her words. Stay back! Emma barked, looking for her children. Don't come closer! Suddenly, a light flickered in the distance. A faint glow. Emma strained against the darkness, pushing forward. Tommy! Lucy! Come to the light! Mom, where are you? Tommy's voice trembled. Follow my voice! Emma shouted. The shadows hissed, trying to drown her out. You can't have them! Let them go! The laughter turned taunting. They belong to the darkness now. No, they're mine, Emma roared, stumbling through the thick veil. She could see them now, her children, trapped in a swirling mist at the shed's door. Mom! Lucy reached out, but the shadows gripped her wrists. Fight it! Emma yelled. Don't give in! Tommy struggled in the dark, confusion flashing in his eyes. Mom, what's happening? Hold on! Emma cried. She lunged, pushing past the veil of darkness as it roared in rage. She felt something slip, a bond breaking. In a blinding flash, she broke through to the other side. Her heart raced. Breathing hard, she stumbled forward. The dim light shined brighter now. Mom! Tommy cried again, his face lit with hope. Grab my hand! Hurry! Emma yelled, reaching toward them, but then she felt it. A cold grip around her ankle. She fell backward, fighting to keep herself tethered to the light. No! She yelled as the shadow threatened to pull her away, but she planted her other foot, desperate to hold her ground. You can't take me. Emma, help us! Lucy screamed. I'm coming! I won't leave you! Emma shouted, reaching farther. Suddenly the shadows recoiled, igniting with a fierce rage. You'll regret this! They screeched, tendrils whipping like snakes. Mom! Tommy cried, voice breaking. Then the ground trembled, a hollow crack ran beneath them. What's happening? Emma yelled, panic rising. The shadow loomed, stretching and distorting. "You should have remembered," it hissed, its face morphing into shapes she recognized, faces from her past she thought were lost. "Stop it! Get away!" Emma shouted, backing up. "You can't ignore the truth," it rasped, twisting closer. "Tommy! Lucy! Hold on!" Emma lunged forward one last time, reaching for them as the shadows pulled tighter. Then, with a resounding crack, the ground split open. Emma barely grasped Tommy's hand, but Lucy slipped away, falling into the darkness. "Lucy!" Emma screamed, but it was too late. "No!" Tommy shouted, eyes wide with shock. "Emma!" the shadow cooed, mocking her. "She's mine now." "No!" Emma bellowed, fighting against the darkness. "You can't have her!" The void roared. "You left her, just like you left me!" "Leave her alone!" Emma shouted, pulling Tommy close. "Mom, we have to get out of here," Tommy said, panic edging his voice. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the shed. The shadows shrieked, recoiling from the entrance. "What is that?" Tommy whispered, eyes glued to the light. Charles stepped through the door, a stern look on his face. "Emma, the amulet!" he shouted. "Dad!" Tommy said in disbelief. "Get the amulet!" Charles yelled, sounding urgent. Emma hesitated, confusion swirling. "What are you doing here? I came to save you, just trust me." He gestured frantically toward the light. "Mom, let's go," Tommy urged, but Emma felt pulled in two directions. "Lucy's still in there." "Forget her," Charles yelled. "You have to break the connection." "Shut up," Emma yelled back, torn by the desperation. "You don't understand. Do it now," he insisted, voice echoing with authority. The shadow lashed out, screeching as it flickered before her. "No, don't listen to him." "Tommy, we can't leave her," Emma cried, tears now spilling down her cheeks. "Mom," Tommy pleaded, "we have to. Trust me. Get the amulet," Charles shouted again, sounding desperate. Emma gritted her teeth, the shadows swirling around them like a storm. "I can't just—" "Now!" he yelled, and for a split second she blinked. Everything shifted. With a surge, she pulled away from the shadow, grip loosening around her feet. "Let me go!" she screamed, wrenching backward. "Mom, please!" Tommy cried, tears glistening. "Save yourselves!" she screamed, pushing them toward the light. The shadows screeched angrily, thrashing as the void threatened to drag them back down. And then the darkness hissed something that froze her in place. "You don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to remember." The words cut deep. A memory flickered like an old film, whispers from the past, betrayal, a truth locked away. "Emma," Charles urged again, still reached out, the light pulsing behind him. "Now!" With sheer force, she lunged toward the light with Tommy in tow. Together, they crossed the threshold of shadows, climbing into the warmth. "Get in!" Tommy cried, pulling her toward safety. "Wait!" she said, glancing back. The shadows writhed, furious and twisted, orbiting like a malignant storm around Charles. But the blast of light surged forward. With a sharp yank behind her, Emma darted through the doorway. "Get down!" Charles shouted. They dove forward just as the shadows exploded outward, howling in rage. Emma felt a whirlwind ripple through the air, pulling and wailing. And then there was silence. They landed hard on the ground, gasping. "Dad?" Tommy's voice wavered as the shadows retreated into the abyss. Emma looked back, heart racing. "Where's Lucy?" But the question loomed between them, weighty and cold. "Lucy!" Emma screamed, scanning the area. "Where are you?" The silence grew thicker. Tommy's face was pale. She's gone." Emma felt the dread settle in her bones. "No, this can't be happening." Then the ground beneath them rumbled again, and Emma felt a chill creep up her spine. "No!" she screamed as darkness rose around them, whispering a familiar tune. Charles was gone. Lucy was lost. And Emma knew in that moment the shadows weren't finished with her yet. "Tommy," she said, adrenaline surging, "we have to go back." "Back?" Tommy echoed, confusion etched on his face. "Yes, we can't leave her. I won't leave her." But as she looked down the path, the shadows began to creep back toward the light. "Mom, wait!" Tommy shouted, fear carved into his features. But Emma was already moving, drawn back by the darkness. "Stay close!" she yelled, pushing forward into the unknown. She could feel their presence again, the whispers returning, echoing through the air, and she knew, deep down, this fight was far from over. Chapter 4. Into the Shadows. Emma pushed forward, a knot of anxiety tightening her chest. "We have to find her. We can't leave Lucy." "Mom, wait!" Tommy called after her, scrambling to keep up. "What if the dark gets us?" "It can't. Not if we stick together," Emma said, though fear clawed at her throat. They stepped cautiously back toward the shed. "I don't want to go back in there," Tommy protested, eyes wide. "We have to try," Emma said quietly. "We can't let the darkness take her too." Tommy nodded, swallowing hard. "But what if it takes you?" "Then you run," she replied, voice firm. "You keep running until you're safe." The ground shook slightly beneath their feet, and they shared a glance of dread. "It's moving," Tommy whispered. "Let's hurry." Emma urged him on. They made their way to the shed, the old wood creaking ominously as they neared. "Mom!" Tommy's voice trembled. "What if she isn't there?" "She is," Emma said fiercely, pushing open the door. It groaned as if in protest. The darkness inside felt alive, wrapping around them like a shroud. Emma stepped in first, flashlight cutting through the shadows. "Lucy!" she yelled. "Lucy, are you here?" "Mom!" Tommy shouted, voice high with panic. "I don't like this." "Stay close," Emma snapped, fighting against the rising tide of fear. She searched the corners of the shed, scanning for any sign of her daughter. "Lucy!" The walls seemed to inch closer together, the shadows creeping around them. "Mom," Tommy said softly, "what if she's—" "Stop! Don't say that!" Emma interrupted sharply, fear making her voice louder than intended. But Tommy shook his head, tears shimmering in his eyes. "What if we can't find her?" Emma swallowed hard, shaking off the heaviness trying to settle around her. "We will find her. Just keep looking." Suddenly, the floor beneath them shuddered violently. Emma barely managed to catch Tommy as he lost his balance. "What was that?" he shouted. With a roar, a jagged crack opened up in the center of the shed, splintering like a live wound. "Run!" Emma screamed, pulling Tommy toward the door. They dove out just as the shed seemed to collapse inward. They landed in the dirt, gasping. Emma scrambled up first, helping Tommy to his feet. "Where's Lucy?" he cried. "I don't know," Emma shouted, scanning the yard as the shadows churned around the broken shed. "Lucy!" She felt the air grow cold, prickling against her skin. "I feel it," Tommy whispered, eyes darting nervously. "Feel what?" Emma pressed, her heart racing. "Something's here." He pointed toward the woods beyond the yard, dark and tangled. "Maybe she went there," Emma said, voice steadier than she felt. "Let's check." The trees loomed, skeletal and ominous. Each step felt heavy, dread pooling in her gut. "Lucy!" Emma called again, desperation creeping into her tone. Just then, the ground shifted again. A shape shuffled through the trees. "Did you see that?" Tommy gasped, tugging at her sleeve. "I did," Emma replied, stepping closer, heart pounding. "Lucy!" From the shadows emerged a figure, tall, cloaked in darkness, a familiar face in the half-light. "Dad?" Tommy whispered in disbelief. "Danny," Emma said softly. "Why?" But before she could finish, he stepped forward, eyes wild, face strained. "Emma," he said urgently, voice low and frantic, "you have to listen to me." "Where is Lucy?" Emma demanded, anger flashing in her eyes. She's in danger!" Danny blurted out, glancing nervously towards the woods. "What do you mean?" Emma asked sharply, fists clenched. "What do you know?" A wave of shadows pulsed behind him, seething and restless. "You need to leave. Now." "Why?" she pressed, feeling an edge of desperation as panic rose in Tommy's voice behind her. "Because the shadows, they know you. They'll come for you next," Danny warned, stepping closer. "Why should we trust you?" Emma shot back, every instinct screaming at her to run. "Because I'm trying to protect you," he shouted, anger and fear clashing in every word. "How did you even make it here?" Tommy asked, eyes narrowed. I followed," Danny said, eyes darting back toward the tree line. "But I didn't want to. I was pulled. They woke me." Emma looked between them, confusion swirling. "What do you mean pulled?" "It's hard to explain," he muttered. "You don't understand what's happening." "Are you really here?" Tommy whispered, stepping closer to Emma. "Mum, what's happening?" he added, fear lacing his voice. And then, without warning, Danny's face contorted in pain, his back arching as a moan escaped his lips. "Stay back!" Emma shouted, stepping in front of her son, but the shadows around them surged, moving with a life of their own. A dark mist enveloped Danny as he fell to his knees. "No, don't let it take me! Get him out!" Emma yelled at Tommy. But before she could reach them, Danny's body jerked and the dark wound around him twisted tighter. "Mom!" Tommy grabbed her hand, panic writ large on his face. Odd whispers filled the air. "He's not yours. You don't belong here. You left him." "What's happening?" Emma cried, eyes wide, feeling the shadows closing in. "No!" Danny gasped, clawing at the darkness. "You have to run! You have to—" With a shriek, the shadows pulled Danny away, dragging him into the forest. "You belong to us now!" they howled. "Danny!" Emma screamed, but he was lost in the dark, his cries fading. "Mom, we need to go!" Tommy urged, grabbing her arm, but Emma stood frozen, heart pounding in her chest. "No, we can't leave him! Mom, please!" he shouted, voice breaking. The wind howled and the darkness thickened, ready to consume everything. "Please, we have to go!" Tommy pleaded again, tears streaming down his face. Emma stood torn, fear racking her body. The shadows pressed closer, whispering of secrets and betrayal. She took a breath, trembling. "All right," she said, voice steadying. "We'll find another way." They turned and ran, the dark chasing them as they fled into the unknown. But as they reached the edge of the yard, a chilling realization struck. "Mom!" Tommy exclaimed, breathless. What if what?" Emma panted, too afraid to think. The shadows loomed behind them, laughing like demons, and Emma felt a twist of dread. "Mom, what if Lucy's still in there?" Tommy's voice pierced her heart, and in that moment she knew it wasn't over yet. "Run!" she yelled, pulling Tommy with her. But the shadows whispered louder, a familiar voice lingering in the dark, promising that everything was only just beginning. Chapter 5. The Darkness Unraveled. Emma pulled Tommy along, the shadows swirling dangerously behind them. Fear raced through her veins, the memory of Danny's terrified face etched in her mind. "Mum, what do we do?" Tommy gasped, glancing back at the encroaching dark. "We keep running!" Emma shouted, the grip of panic growing tighter. They sprinted across the yard, the chill of the evening air threading through them like icy fingers. "Do you think Lucy's okay?" Tommy asked, his voice trembling. "I don't know," she cried, "but we have to find her." As they got closer to the trees, the dark surrounding them thickened. Shadows moved like living things, eager to pounce. "It's closing in," she said, panic rising in her throat. But before they could reach the woods, a figure emerged from the bubbling darkness. "Stop!" the figure shouted. Emma squinted, heart pounding. "Danny!" "No, it's me!" The figure stepped forward, blocking their path. It was not Danny, it was someone different. "Who are you?" Emma shouted, ready to push past. "Emma, wait, it's me, Sam!" "Sam?" Tommy blinked, confused. "From the neighborhood?" "Yes, you have to listen. You can't go in there." Sam's voice was urgent. The shadows danced behind him, almost eager to lunge. "Why? What do you know?" Emma demanded, her patience thinning. "Please, just trust me. You don't know what's in that darkness. It's more than just shadows." "What are you talking about?" Emma snapped. "Where is Lucy?" Tommy interrupted, uncertainty creeping into his voice. "Lucy!" Emma shouted, hands on her hips. "Where is she, Sam? Tell us!" But the shadows behind Sam surged. "You shouldn't have come back," they hissed. "This place is cursed." Emma felt the weight of those words. "Cursed how?" "No, it's not a curse," Sam insisted, shaking his head. "It's a warning." "Stop! All we need to know is how to get Lucy," Emma said, stepping closer. "The truth," Sam said, voice rising. "If you want her back, you need to understand what you're facing." "What do you mean?" Emma asked, searching his face. Your past, it ties into all this. Lucy is connected to the darkness, and if you don't confront it, you'll lose her for good. What? That's crazy, Tommy protested, eyes wide. Just hear me out, Sam begged. When your family moved here, when they inherited the house— What does the house have to do with anything? Emma said. Everything, Sam shouted, his voice breaking. Your mother was part of something dark. Tommy stared at Emma, confused. Mom! Sam, you're not making sense, she yelled. What does my mother have to do with Lucy? Your mother kept secrets, Sam shouted, voice tinted with desperation. Secrets that led to this darkness. Secrets? Emma's heart raced. What kind of secrets? On the night they moved, your mother found something that called to her. Sam took a hesitant step forward. It's not just the house. It's your family's legacy. Lucy is part of it. She's tied to what happened. No, you're wrong, Emma shook her head. Lucy is my daughter, and that's why they're after her, Sam yelled, his words slashing through Emma's resolve. They want to finish what was started. You have to stop running and face what's inside. No! Emma pounded her fist against her leg. I'm not going to lose my daughter. I can help you, Sam offered, eyes pleading. Help! You weren't even here! Emma shouted, frustration boiling over. Who do you think you are? Someone who's seen it. Someone who knows how to fight against it? Fight against what? Tommy asked, voice wavering. But before Sam could answer, the shadows writhed, creeping closer. They're coming! Sam shouted, eyes wide with fear. Get out of our way! Emma yelled, but Sam wouldn't budge. You need to understand, he pressed, urgency rising. It's not just about Lucy. It's about you. You have to remember why you left. Why we left. She narrowed her eyes. What do you know about any of this? I know more than you think, Sam shouted, fear crackling in the air. It's about a promise made to protect your family. I don't believe you. Emma's voice trembled with uncertainty. The shadows hissed, swirling as if alive. Listen to him, Emma. You can't escape your blood. Stop it, she shouted, clenching her hands into fists. Suddenly, the dark erupted. You left. You never came back. Emma felt a sharp chill pierce her heart. What does that mean? She gasped. The shadows twisted, forming the shape of a figure. You can't run from me forever. I'm not running from anyone, Emma screamed, but doubt crept in. Tommy was trembling. Mom, what's happening? It's the shadows. They know us, Sam shouted, eyes wide with realization. Then we face them, Emma declared. We won't back down. Mum, please. Tommy grabbed her arm. I don't want to be here. But the shadows surged forward, threatening to engulf them all. Stand your ground, Sam yelled. Emma took a deep breath, locking eyes with Tommy. We're not afraid. Just then, the shape in the darkness shifted into something different. A face, clear and haunting, an image from Emma's past. It was her mother, eyes deep with regret. Mom? Emma choked out, confusion twisting in her gut. Emma, you need to know, her mother's voice echoed, filled with sorrow. What? What do I need to know? Emma cried, throat tightening. That this darkness is part of us, her mother said, voice fading. It will always be part of you. No, Emma yelled. You left me. You let it take you. But the figure was lost in the shadows once more, leaving a haunting silence. Mum! Tommy's voice trembled. What does that mean? Emma stepped back, heart racing. She felt her grip on reality slip. It means, she barely whispered, it means I can't lose you too. Then the shadows surged forward, thundering with rage. You can't escape your past, they screamed. Run! Emma yelled, pulling Tommy close, but just as they turned to flee, a new presence surged from the darkness, blocking their path. You can't leave, it growled, a voice deep and terrible. Who are you? Emma demanded, but she knew. I am the truth, it said, eyes blazing. Stand back, Sam shouted. The figure advanced, shadows swirling around it. You think you're free of me? Mom! Tommy screamed, eyes wide with fear. Stay close! Emma shouted, heart pounding, whispers of her past intertwined with the storm of shadows. The figure grew larger, looming. Fear gripped her. Stop! She cried. But the darkness only laughed. You chose to forget. Now it's your children's turn. Emma felt the ground tremble beneath her. "What?" she gasped, voice breaking. Suddenly, a burst of light broke through the dark, illuminating the area. It flickered briefly before fading, and the shadows halted. "Tommy!" Emma shouted, grabbing his arm tightly, face pale. "What just happened?" But the shadows shifted again. "You can't hide from the truth forever, Emma." "No, stay away from my kids," she roared, and in that moment the darkness exploded outward and everything whirled into chaos. Emma's world spun, and she grasped Tommy as the shadows raged. "Hold on!" But as they braced for what was to come, an unexpected whisper reached Emma's ears, one that twisted the air and shattered her resolve. "Mum, are you really who you say you are?" Tommy's voice rang out, filled with doubt. The shadows swelled ominously, and Emma's heart sank. She looked into Tommy's eyes, filled with confusion and fear. "Mom," he whispered again, "what's happening?" And she knew everything was about to change. With a shuddering breath, Emma felt the weight of the truth finally begin to unravel. Chapter 6. The Shattered Facade. "Mum, what's happening?" Tommy's voice trembled. He clutched Emma's arm, eyes wide with fear. "Stay close," Emma said, scanning the chaos around them. Shadows writhed and twisted, whispering dark secrets. "We can't let it take you." The dark figure sneered. "You brought this upon your family, Emma. You can't run from what you are." "No," she shouted, pushing Tommy behind her. "You don't get to threaten us." "You think you can protect him?" It lunged forward, shadows spilling like ink. "You left him." What are you talking about?" Tommy yelled, confusion knitting his brow. "That night you weren't alone. You made a promise, Emma, a promise to return." "Shut up," she screamed. "I don't know you." "Yes, you do. You just choose to forget," the figure hissed, the shadows swirling around it, threatening to consume everything. "Mom!" Tommy pressed, panic rising. "What's it saying?" Emma felt the walls closing in, her pulse racing. She had to keep him safe. "Whatever it says, don't listen." But the shadows tightened, their whispers louder. "Your family," they cried in unison. "You have the same blood." "What? No! Tommy isn't part of this!" Emma shouted, straining against the growing darkness. "Just look at him!" The shadows screeched, twisting into more familiar shapes. "He's just like you. You can't escape your legacy." "I'm not like you," she roared, stepping forward. "I'm not trapped in this darkness." "Are you sure about that?" The dark figure leered. "What was your mother's name, Emma?" The question hung in the air. Emma's heart raced. She hesitated. "I don't have to answer you." "Don't you?" it replied, voice dripping with malice. "How many years did you ignore the truth? You thought you could hide it, but it follows you everywhere." "Stop it," Tommy cried, holding his hands over his ears. And then Emma heard an unexpected sound. Laughter. The shadows cackled. "Your daughter is part of this too," they whispered, chilling Emma's blood. "Don't forget Lucy." "Lucy!" Emma shouted, realizing the danger was growing closer. "We have to find her." "Too late," the shadows sneered. "You let them in." "What do you mean?" she yelled, stepping back. Then a loud crash echoed from the trees behind them. "Mom, what was that?" Tommy's voice was raw. "Get back!" Emma yelled, shielding him with her body. Out of the darkness a shape emerged, another figure, tall and menacing. Emma squinted. "No! Mom!" Tommy gasped, trembling. "Who is that?" "Lucy!" Emma screamed, fear gripping her heart. The shape was dragging a small figure behind it. "Lucy!" Tommy cried out, eyes wide. But the figure stumbled, and Emma realized it wasn't Lucy. It was a boy, dirty and scared. "Who are you?" she shouted, adrenaline surging. He looked up, face pale. "Please, help me!" The shadows around him pulsed. "That's not Lucy," the dark figure hissed. "It's just a pawn." "Stay away from him!" Emma yelled. The boy staggered backward. "Lucy, He faltered, breathless. "She's with them." "No!" Tommy shouted. "Where's Lucy? Tell us." "Mom, what's happening?" Tommy's voice shook. Before she could respond, the shadows exploded around them, snapping and biting at the edges of their fear. "Run!" Emma shouted, grabbing Tommy's hand, but the darkness coiled tighter, holding them back. "You won't get away this time!" it shrieked. Then the boy screamed, "I saw her! I saw Lucy!" "Where?" Emma cried, urgency clawing at her throat. "She was taken inside! You need to come with me!" he shouted. "Who are you?" Emma yelled, but the shadows surged forward, cutting off any answer. "Go!" Emma urged, pulling Tommy along. "I'm not leaving without Lucy," he said, panic clear in his tone. "She's not safe!" Emma shouted back, voice rising. "We have to trust him!" With that, the boy reached for the darkness as if he somehow belonged. "Come on! We can't let them win!" "No!" Emma screamed, but it was too late. The shadows enveloped him, pulling him into their storm. "Tommy!" she shouted. In that moment, everything fell apart. The darkness roared, and the ground beneath them cracked wide open. "Mom, hold on!" Tommy cried, and Emma tightened her grip, heart racing. But the shadows were closing in again, and they were running out of time. "We have to find Lucy," Emma yelled, voice strained. "Where is she?" Tommy shouted. "Stay close," Emma called, her heart pounding. And as they sprinted toward the edge of the woods, a new realization crashed down. If Lucy was with the darkness, it might be too late to save her. "Keep going," Emma urged, knowing this fight was far from over. But before she could reach for the trees, the darkness stretched out a long finger, beckoning her back to that terrible night. "Emma," it whispered, pulling her closer. "You can't escape your fate." The crackling chaos echoed around them as the shadows plunged forward, and Emma knew she was about to find out just how deep the darkness ran. Chapter 7. The Edge of Shadows. Emma gripped Tommy's hand tightly, adrenaline pulsing through her. The darkness pressed closer, crushing in on them like a living thing. "Mom, what do we do?" Tommy's voice was high, full of fear. "Keep running!" Emma shouted. They backed against the trees, shadows curling around their feet like fingers. "Where's Lucy?" Tommy cried, desperation clawing at him. "I don't know," Emma yelled back, "but we can't stop. We need to keep moving." A chilling laugh echoed from the dark. "You can't escape this place, Emma. It knows you." "Shut up!" Emma whipped around, sensing the figure from before realigning in the gloom. "You're lying. It knows your family's secrets," it hissed. "You can't hide from them." "Listen to it, Mom." Tommy tugged at her arm. "Maybe we should—" "No!" Emma snapped, pulling him along. "We'll find our way out on our own." Mom," Tommy's voice trembled. "What if Lucy can't come with us?" "She will." Emma's heart raced. They had to keep going. They had to keep believing. As they stumbled deeper into woods, a strange glow appeared ahead. "What's that?" Tommy whispered. "I don't know," Emma said cautiously, "but we have to find out." They approached the light, a soft, flickering shimmer through the trees, but as they drew closer, the glow morphed into something darker. It pulsed like a heartbeat, throbbing, alive. "Mom, I don't like this," Tommy said, fear creeping back into his voice. "Me neither," Emma admitted, but they were already too far in. "We have to keep moving." Just then, a sharp scream echoed through the trees, piercing the air. "Lucy!" Emma shouted, panic surging. "Mom, what was that?" Tommy's eyes widened. "Stay close," Emma urged, pressing deeper into the woods. The glow faded, replaced by oppressive shadows. "Lucy!" Emma called out again. Another scream split the air, now closer. The shadows clung tightly, whispering secrets she couldn't grasp. "Mom, we should turn back," Tommy pleaded. "No, we're almost there," Emma shouted. But just then, a figure slipped from the dark, a small girl, stumbling, covered in dirt. "Lucy!" Emma screamed, rushing to her. "Thank God!" Lucy looked up, eyes wide, filled with terror. "Mom, they're here!" "What do you mean?" Emma knelt, pulling Lucy close. "Who's here?" "They're coming for us," Lucy flailed, glancing over her shoulder. "We have to run." "From who, Lucy?" Tommy asked, trembling. "Her," Lucy pointed. Emma turned, fear crashing into her gut. The figure stood close behind them, still and dark, with eyes like burning coal. "Leave her alone," Emma shouted, tightening her grip on Lucy. The figure spoke, voice low and heavy. "You can't protect them, Emma. They belong to the shadows now." "No!" she yelled back, panic surging through her as Lucy clung tighter, shaking. "Mom!" Tommy shouted. "She's right. We can't escape. We need to face it." "Shut up," Emma screamed. "You don't know what you're saying." But the shadows roared, swirling ferociously. "It's time to embrace what's yours." The figure lunged forward, and Emma instinctively stepped back. With one swift movement, it grabbed Lucy. "No!" Emma cried, springing forward. "Mom!" Lucy screamed, eyes wide, clutching at the dark figure's grip. And then it happened. Tommy grabbed Emma's arms, pulling her away. "Don't let her go!" A flash of realization sparked in Emma. "Tommy, no! Get back!" But he lunged, eyes filled with resolve. "If they want her, they can't have her." The darkness surged, engulfing them all. "Tommy, stop!" Emma screamed, but it was too late. The shadows exploded, drawing them into a massive whirlpool of dark, twisting tendrils. "No!" Emma bellowed, grasping desperately. "Tommy, stay with us!" "Mom!" Tommy's voice faded. "What's happening?" "Lucy!" Emma called, but the darkness pulled tighter, swallowing them. Then, in a heartbeat, everything shattered. The darkness split like an enormous crack in the earth, and light burst forth, blinding and pure. In that flash, Emma saw Tommy and Lucy reaching out, faces twisted in fear and determination. The dark figure laughed, triumphant. "You thought you could win?" "No!" Emma shouted, but the shadows began to close in again, the faces of her children turning to despair. They were slipping away. "Mum!" Tommy cried as the light flickered. "Tommy, don't let go!" Emma screamed, but before she could reach him, a dark hand surged forward and gripped her tightly. "Emma!" The voice boomed. "You have to decide! Save yourself or save your children!" "No!" she screamed, tears filling her eyes. But it was too late. The darkness swept her away, leaving the cries of her children echoing in her ears, and Emma realized she was a prisoner of her own fate. Emma felt the pull of darkness slipping away as she struggled against the grasping shadows. "No!" she screamed, heart racing. "I won't lose them!" The figure loomed before her, its laugh echoing like thunder. "You're too late, Emma. Your children are already part of this." "Let her go," Emma yelled, her voice breaking. She could see Lucy and Tommy fading, their desperate faces twisted in fear. "I'll fight you," Emma shouted, summoning every ounce of strength she had. The shadows around her hissed and shrieked, but something deep inside her flickered with a countering fire. "You never understood your past, did you?" the darkness taunted. "You think you can change your fate." But in that moment, Emma found clarity. The memories rushed back. Her mother's voice echoing with warmth and love, warnings wrapped in bedtime stories, promises made under starlit skies. "I will not run from it anymore," she said, her voice steady and strong. As she declared those words, a surge of light burst from her, pushing against the encroaching darkness. The figure recoiled, surprised by her defiance. "No, you can't!" "I can!" Emma shouted back. "You don't control me!" With each word, the shadows shrank back, swirling and howling in frustration. The light around Emma began to expand, illuminating the forest. "Tommy, Lucy, I'm coming for you." "Mom!" Tommy's voice rang out, clear and pure against the gloom. "We're here! Stay together!" Emma cried, racing toward the sound of their voices. The brightness intensified, cutting through the dark like a knife, until she broke free from the shadows entirely. "Lucy! Tommy!" she called, her heart pounding with fear and hope. They appeared through the trees, disheveled but alive, blinking against the light. "Mom!" they shouted, and in an instant she was enveloped by their embrace. "Are you okay?" Emma asked, her voice trembling. "We were scared," Tommy said, clinging tightly to Emma. "But we didn't give up. We knew you'd come." "I'm so proud of you both," Emma exclaimed. "Now let's get out of here." Together they turned to face the darkness. The figure loomed large but weak now, shadows swirling like smoke. "You can't escape what you've wrought," it hissed. "Yes, we can," Emma affirmed, stepping forward with determination. "We won't let you take anyone else." And with a burst of light fueled by their unity, they pushed forward together. The darkness howled, retreating with each step they took, until finally it was nothing more than a distant whisper. As the first rays of dawn broke through the trees, the three of them stumbled out into open air. The quiet morning light felt fresh and alive. They were free. "Did we do it?" Lucy asked, glancing back at the fading shadows. Emma squeezed her children close. "I think we did, but we'll always have to keep watch. The past doesn't just vanish." As they turned to walk away from the memories that haunted them, Emma glanced back one last time. The woods stood still, secrets still buried beneath the surface. They had escaped the darkness, but shadows had a way of lingering. "What if it comes back?" Tommy asked quietly. "Then we'll face it together," Emma replied, holding her children tightly as they walked into the brightening morning. "Always." But as they stepped into the light, a flicker of shadow darted by, barely noticeable. Ominous whispers stirred in the breeze, and somewhere deep inside, Emma feared this was far from over. "Before you go, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Press the like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. We want to know your reactions. Comment below with your theories about the ending. And don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this story. Your support makes all the difference.